Jurassic Park, Indiana Jones, E.T. the Extra-Terrestrial, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. These are just a few of director Steven Spielberg's best work. He's one of those legendary filmmakers where I feel like you could ask 10 different people on the street what their favorite Spielberg movie is, and you would get like 10 different answers. While everyone has at least heard of his greatest hits, not many know about his first movie. No, it's not Jaws. It's also technically not Duel from 1971. It's actually a rather obscure, low-budget science fiction film from 1964 titled Firelight. This movie was directed by Spielberg when he was just 17 years old, still in high school, living in Phoenix, Arizona. The film follows a group of scientists investigating a mysterious phenomenon in the fictional town of Freeport, Arizona. The story primarily focuses on Tony Karcher, a scientist, and Howard Richards, a firm believer in UFOs, as they track a series of colored lights in the sky, and the unexplained disappearances of people, animals, and objects. As the incidents escalate, a dog, a unit of soldiers, and a young girl named Lisa vanish. The film's twist reveals that the aliens, represented by 3 looming shadows, intend to send the entire town of Freeport to Altaris, their home planet, in order to create a human zoo of sorts. Now, Spielberg's passion for filmmaking was evident from a young age. Before Firelight, he was already experimenting with home movies, crafting short films that often centered around adventures or war stories. Growing up in Phoenix, Spielberg didn't have the benefit of a thriving film community or accessible industry connections. Instead, his early experiences were shaped by DIY experimentation and the influence of classic Hollywood films. Firelight was Spielberg's first ambitious attempt at feature-length storytelling. His determination to see it through speaks volumes about his early drive and fascination with cinematic storytelling. Now, the film's budget was around $500, which was modest even by the standards of 1960s amateur filmmaking. Spielberg financed it through his father, Arnold Spielberg, and possibly some funds from family and friends. Spielberg often joked in various interviews that it was funded by lawn mowing money. He used an 8mm film camera for shooting, though some reports say that it might have been a 16mm film camera, but there's no real consensus. He cast local friends and community members, and his sister, Anne Spielberg, helped with production. Spielberg was a one-man crew for most of it, writing, directing, editing, and even creating the film's score. To create special effects, Spielberg used practical homemade techniques. He painted colored gels over lights to simulate an alien spacecraft, and he made models and props with basic materials. Spielberg's problem-solving instincts in Firelight echo his later work. For instance, his use of lighting and shadow to suggest alien presence mirrors techniques that he employed in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. In both films, light becomes a form of communication and mystery.
Monsieur Nery, I envy you.
As a result, it's not a stretch to see Firelight as an early sketch of the themes that would define Spielberg's career, the intersection of the ordinary and the extraordinary, and humanity's fascination with the unknown. Firelight had one public screening at the Phoenix Little Theater in 1964. Reportedly, Spielberg charged $1 per ticket and attracted about 500 attendees, making around $1 in profit after expenses, because apparently someone paid $2 to get in. For a teenager in a small community, this screening was a major accomplishment. It wasn't just about showing a film, it was about creating an event, engaging with an audience, and taking the first steps forward towards understanding how a filmmaker connects with his viewers. Unfortunately, though, most of the film is now considered to be lost media, with only fragments and production stills surviving. If you want to watch the film for yourself, the best you're going to get is a nearly 4-minute video that compiles various found segments of the film together. It's on YouTube, go check it out. Interestingly enough though, some clips have a TCM watermark on them in the top right corner. For those that may be unaware, Turner Classic Movies, or TCM, is an American television network that primarily airs classic films, mostly from the early to mid 20th century. They really don't air commercials, but instead have various short-form documentaries, short films, and roundtable discussions in between movies. So it's very likely that some of these clips of Firelight were supplied to TCM and were used as part of a documentary on Spielberg. I doubt they actually aired the movie because there's no record of it, and on top of that too, I'm sure a lot of eager lost media hunters are frothing at the mouth right now, hoping to find this lost piece of cinematic history, but a full cut of Firelight will never see the light of day.
No way. Not this time. Not a chance. Not this time. Wrong.
Like, full stop, it's not happening. Shortly after screening the film at the Phoenix Little Theater, Spielberg shopped the film around to various producers in order to try and get a distribution deal. He ended up giving the master reels to an unnamed production company, but they unfortunately went bankrupt shortly after, and 2 reels were lost in the process. Even then, it's quite evident that Spielberg wouldn't want the film to surface. In the 1997 book Steven Spielberg, The Unauthorized Biography by John Baxter, Spielberg reportedly called it, quote, one of the 5 worst films ever made. It's easy to see why he might feel that way. Most artists look back on their early work with a very critical eye. It's a natural part of growth, but there could also be a sense of vulnerability involved. Like, this was a movie made when he was a kid. You know, like putting that out there in the world now at the level he's at would probably tarnish his reputation, at least in his mind he might think that, I don't know. That said, Firelight is significant in its own right, and it deserves to be remembered in spite of its alleged poor quality. In my opinion, the film's climax, the idea that aliens intend to create a human zoo, is an unsettling concept, and it feels right at home in the Twilight Zone.
From Earth to our planet. We will be taking off in 3 minutes.
Why a young Spielberg gravitated towards this idea is worth considering. Perhaps it reflected his own feelings of being observed or confined, a teenage filmmaker testing the boundaries of his suburban world. Or maybe it was a commentary on the human tendency to control and categorize the unknown. Or maybe he just thought it was a cool idea.
Debbie, it's Firelight. Get down.
Tony, what's it going to do?
Be quiet.
Tony, take me home. Get it away.
Debbie, it's attracted to noise. Be quiet.
Tony, I'm scared.
And with all of that out of the way, I'm Cole McCormick. You're watching Firewood Media. Consider becoming a member to support the channel. For just $1.99 a month, you'll receive member shoutouts, your name featured as an executive producer in all of our film projects, and you get to see videos just like these way before they're released to the public. You don't have to if you don't want to. It's just an extra perk for anyone that wants to support the channel while getting some unique content on the side. Either way, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.